Yo, what's up? We got another episode of Geeks from the Multiverse, and we are going to be talking about Deadpool and Wolverine. That's right, we are going to be doing a review, so spoiler alert. We're also going to be doing our very last round of Super Fight, so stay tuned and let's get fucking geeky. Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to Geeks from the Multiverse. I am one of your hosts, Matt. With me, as always, is John.
Yo, what's up, everybody? But again, we want to appreciate and we like to say this real quick. YouTube, great start. You know, we're trying to get you guys to be, looking at us more and doing all that. I know we had some comments about trying to get video up there and all this other stuff. It's great, trust me, I understand, but the problem is right now, both Matt and I, it's a lot of time consuming, it's a lot of work, it's all bullshit of things that I could keep going on and on about, but the thing is that, for now, again, it's just going to be the audio that we've been doing. It's really easy, it's really quick, but at least you guys can now hear us on YouTube, and it's, again, free. It's crazy, and then, you can just share it out, follow us, do all this fun stuff, do all the things that we
And I did actually post a whole bunch of geeky shorts. They're actually in the YouTube Shorts category, but there are some newer geeky shorts in there. It's weird because when the YouTube AI algorithm marks them for over 60 seconds, it puts it in a whole different category.
No, but I mean, it's kind of cool that
there's a whole bunch in there. Like I think the week prior, I posted one almost every single day. So there's a bunch in there now. Well,
and again, you get to hear little bits and pieces from the episode. So it's like, some of the things that, we find funny or, some of the things that, just kind of randomly.
I'm going to actually have a whole new bunch of posts from our terrible movie reviews.
Oh, God. So are you talking about from way back?
From way back. So there's going to be a whole new load of geeky shorts and YouTube shorts from those episodes. So, stay tuned for that. That'll be kind of fun.
Okay. And then again,
some killer donuts.
Oh, yeah. God. That's some old shit, buddy. I mean, and again, even with TikTok, I mean, it's the same thing, so if you, again, follow us on there.
I posted them there too.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So if you find some stuff, go on TikTok, share them out, help us out in the long run. I mean, because again, whatever views we can get, it's going to help us in the long run. But anyways, guys, we're going to talk about round 4 of Super Fight, because I know technically so far, okay, since, we're going to share some updates here in a second. I understand that Matt, even though I still think he's cheating, is apparently winning, which I'm like,
master debater so far.
Whatever. Yeah. I still think these cards are just fucked up. I mean, it's just, trust me, there's no right.
These clowns are, these cards are definitely fucked up.
They're extremely fucked up.
I mean, they're definitely somewhere in left field.
I mean, and the worst part about it is that you can't really do anything about it. It's kind of like, whatever cards you're dealt with, you're like, well, fuck, how do I debate?
I mean, last week you had a Japanese anime porn tentacle monster.
I know. Yeah. And again, I don't even know what that is, but I had to look it up, and I already told you, man, it's not fun to look it up, and I would not advise you. Don't do it. It's not worth it. No. But again, hopefully this week, maybe I'll have some saving grace here, because I swear, I don't know what it is. You and I have been getting some weird-ass fucking cards and some weird-ass locations and all this other shit.
You actually picked my cards this time around.
You're right. So I did.
If you say that I cheated, I did not pick my cards this time.
I don't know. I'm just saying. I'm just throwing it out there, boys and girls. I'm just saying.
I did not pick my cards.
I understand. So this is the last round, and so this is what I'll start with. So I do have the location card. Matt and I do not have any idea where we're going to be located. So real quick.
Where are we fighting?
Where the fuck are we fighting?
I swear, if it's Crystal Lake, I am going to run away.
You're going to run away? Okay, well, I mean, we're going to find out in 2 seconds. Here we go. Okay. Interesting. Dracula's Castle.
That's not any better.
No, but I mean, at least it's an interesting, Transylvania. So, it's going to be interesting how we're going to deal with this. Yeah, okay. All I think about is Van Helsing, but that's just the way I view it. But okay.
Yeah, okay.
Go ahead. I'll let you do first.
What? Kanye West.
What are you gonna do? You're gonna be like rapping to me all the time? Is this how you're gonna do it?
Apparently, yeah. I'm gonna be rapping. Yeah.
Oh, you're gonna love this, Pat. Ready? Dominatrix.
Dominatrix. Wow.
Gotta love it, huh? Sounds like you need to be submissive here, but I'm just saying.
They may exist in the same universe. I'm not gonna lie. You know, they may exist.
Just go ahead, buddy. Since now you're gonna talk about your powers here.
You know, why the fuck does every one of my characters have to be on drugs?
Okay, go on, because now I want to know.
I mean, this seriously is not a cool. This seriously is not a cool combo. So apparently, I have Kanye West who just dropped acid.
Oh, that sucks.
And he throws dead hookers.
Oh, lovely. Because this one's really promising, I guess, in some ways. Ready? Has enormous exposed breasts and can summon and command dildos.
What does that even mean?
I don't know. I mean, I guess I can command and summon dildos at free will. I mean, maybe I could just find a way to shove it right up your ass, man. I mean, I don't know what to tell you.
I mean, I do throw dead hookers, and I'm Kanye West, so I mean,
Kanye West don't mean shit to me. Kanye West can go to basically just have a giant dildo stuck up his ass for all I care.
Well, I don't think you have infinite number of dildos.
Apparently, I can summon. That's the thing. We don't know. Can I? Can I not?
I mean, how enormous are the breasts that you're talking about? Are we talking back problems?
Hell if I know. I don't fucking know, Matt. This is the problem. This is all about speculations here. Since we all talk about speculation in this game.
I mean, you're a dominatrix and I'm rich.
So what the fuck does that have to do with anything? That doesn't have to do with shit.
I have money. I can do what I want.
Do you realize where he's at right now? I'm pretty sure he's not even in the same country right now. I'm pretty sure he's actually gone somewhere else because I don't think he's trying.
I think in our fight, we're in the same spot.
I understand. I'm just telling you.
Which is Dracula's castle.
Correct. I understand that. So
we both have an issue here because we both have a vampire.
Yeah, chasing us. I get that.
That wants to kill us both.
Oh, I understand.
Yeah.
I understand that. I mean, personally, you're kind of already fucked with the whole being on acid. But let's start with that.
I am pretty fucked.
Just being on acid.
Yeah.
You're already going to be in fucking La La Land at that fucking point.
But you do have to dodge my dead hookers. So,
that's if you can manipulate where you're at that point. Because if you're fucking on acid, how are you going to throw hookers and how are you going to know where I'm at?
Oh, I might not know where you're at, but I'm throwing them bitches. I'm throwing them. I don't care where you're at. I'm throwing them.
That's fine. You can throw them all you want. That might help you with, I guess, Dracula in some sense. You can probably get away in that sense because you can be like, oh, here, take your fucking live pics here. You know, like have fun with them. Like that might be your saving grace, but that's only going to get you so far.
Yeah, I mean, it's only going to get me so far, but I don't think dildos are going to kill me though.
No, I don't know, man, because
I don't think none of these things are actually going to kill either of us.
I think so here's the thing, Matt. If I can summon when it said dildos, so I'm assuming multiple. Okay, so you have what for a male, right? You only have, well, I guess 3. But I mean, it kind of makes no sense to do it in one of the spots. But okay, you have your mouth and you have your fucking asshole. So guess what, buddy? There's 2 spots that can be plugged up real quick.
I can still breathe out my nose.
Well, I mean, to a degree. If I'm choking you to death with a fucking dildo, I don't know. I mean, you can only do so much. I'm just telling you. Look, I don't really want to have this debate, but I'm just telling you.
I don't really want to have the debate either, but
I'm just telling you there's only so much you can do in that moment.
I mean, I'm still throwing dead hookers, so I mean, if you're anywhere near me,
and I don't think I have any dogs in this fight, but no, I'm gonna say, man, you really don't. Like I said, the only thing that you're saving yourself from is Dracula. That is the only saving grace that you might have, is because then you could just start throwing the dead hookers at him. But then again, just like with me and the dildos, how many fucking hookers do you have? Is it infinite? Is it fucking only limited?
Well, there's the thing. I mean, it says hookers, so I'm assuming.
So, just like dildos, I'm assuming too, but I don't know exactly how many. Just like you don't exactly know how many hookers you have. So there's so many. Again, this is all the what do we know? I don't know. I don't know how many hookers you have. I don't know how many dildos I have. Apparently, I don't know how big my breasts are. Apparently, because again, I don't know.
I'm assuming enormous.
I don't know. Is it double D? Is it
you might have a hard time walking.
It depends on what we're talking about, what enormous is. I mean, because if we're talking about like double Ds or we're talking E's, F's, fucking G's, I mean, I don't fucking know how big we're talking about. I'm not talking about like the world's biggest titties, man, because...
You know, and I don't know why this suddenly came into my mind, but I suddenly think South Park with this fight, and I don't know why. Why
do you think
why
South
the fuck
Park?
I'm picturing this? But I suddenly think of like some weird looking dominatrix and like Kanye West being in like the little South Park figures and like them like fighting and arguing.
I don't fucking know. I know what you're talking about, but that would be fucking weird to like
whipping them, and he's like doing some stupid like.
Well, that's fucking Michael Jackson, so get that right.
Well, no, but I mean, he would be doing something. He wouldn't just be like, you know.
No, I mean,
but I can see it like I can see something on South Park. Like that's what I picture in my head.
The problem with Kanye West is that, like, you could talk about certain songs, you can talk about all this other stuff, but he doesn't like, you know how like Little John's like, yeah, you know, like, and he's got his own little trademark. So Kanye West doesn't have anything that he's really like sounds that he makes or anything like that. So it's not like you can.
No, I mean, Kanye West, I don't think he's very like gangsta level, like, you know what I mean? Like I know he does like a lot of political activism stuff.
I would say, well, back in the day, he's more, and I'm gonna say it. So like I did like, this is just me growing up. Like I didn't mind some of his music in the beginning. Some of it was fine. His was kind of unique because it wasn't like hip hop rap in the sense of like old school, you know. I'm not talking like 90s and like he was in the 2000s, like the beginning of that, but it was more like, it was kind of like pop. It was like a pop rap. You know what I mean? Like it had like very like interesting beats and it had all this shit, but like it wasn't like 50 Cent. It was like gangster rap or, you know, like that kind of level of it. But like Kanye is like, you know, now like with his music and stuff, he's just a weird fucking individual. And the fact that he, you know, when he married Kim Kardashian and did whatever the fuck, like his world fucking, I don't know what it was, but he like changed his whole fucking views on things. And yes, he became a political figure because of Trump and shit like that. And that's where it fucking changed his whole fucking view on things. But all I'm saying is, man, is that Kanye West is a weird motherfucker and he ain't going to really help you with shit, especially right now.
What I do have going for me though, and this is just kind of a side thing because of who Kanye West is.
Oh, please enlighten me.
Being somebody who is rich and who has that, you know, who has the infamy of being Kanye West.
Okay.
He is the one individual who does have bodyguards.
Okay. And so if, just throwing it out there, if you're speculating because of you being rich and doing all that based on that, okay, sure. You could pull that card all you want. But bodyguards in this case, especially with Dracula, ain't going to do you're not going to go very far. I'm just telling you right now. That's not going to change shit. You could throw that card out all you want. I'm just throwing it out there.
No, but I mean,
that's not going to do shit.
That's half of their job is to protect.
Okay, no, I understand that. I mean, because that's any artist. That's any...
In these cases, so...
That's any celebrity.
The dominatrix still has to get beyond these bodyguards that have guns.
That may or may not have guns, because you don't know. You don't know if every single bodyguard...
I'm assuming they do. I mean, they're there...
You're assuming. Just like
to protect him.
Yeah, but maybe they're just muscle. I don't know. That's my point. And you're also throwing out there that he's got bodyguards. Right now, I'm just saying if it was just him.
He does have bodyguards.
I'm not saying he wouldn't. I'm not saying that any celebrity wouldn't. I'm just saying in that moment, if he's on fucking acid and he's fucking throwing hookers at fucking shit.
He might be on acid. He might be throwing hookers.
Maybe he fucks up his own guards. Maybe, you know what I'm saying? Like there's so many possibilities
here. And that
here.
could be the possibility, but I still have bodyguards and your dominatrix doesn't. Just has huge fucking tits and has weird dildos flying.
You're right. No, it doesn't. No, hold on. It does not say anything about flying dildos. It just means that I can command said dildos to do basically, I guess, what I want if I'm reading this card correctly.
I'm assuming you're going to command them to come after me.
Yeah, there's a lot of things
I'm going to be like, hey, just sit there and...
No, basically, you remember... Okay, do you remember... This is what I think of, and this is going to sound really weird. Did you ever play... I know you played Saints Row, like the newer one, but have you played any other, the older stuff, like the Saints Row 3 or anything like that?
Probably not, no.
Okay. Well, one of the weapons that they had in the game, it was a dildo bat. Okay. It sounds really weird, but it was like...
using it as a bat and commanding them, I almost think of a telekinesis where you can like... make them do what you want.
Yes, basically. That's kind of what I was thinking. I'm not saying it has to be a bat per se, but it's like a giant, it could be like, or I could manipulate it. I don't know. It says summon and command dildos. I don't know. It depends on how big they are. I don't really know what... That's where I'm like confused. I don't know. It could be big. It could be fucking small. I don't really know what the size are. And I'm not really going to go look up fucking sizes here.
I'm not... Yeah, we shouldn't don't look up dildos. I'm just saying like...
Look, I'm just going to throw it out.
I'm just throwing it out there that being somebody who is a rapper and has the famous name of Kanye West and has money, I might have dropped acid. I might have smoked weed. I could have done God knows whatever drug. I could have dropped ecstasy like my stupid naked clown did
Damn right.
weeks ago.
Yep.
And yeah, maybe I am throwing dead hookers. I'm Kanye West, bitch. Whatever. I still have a fucking bodyguard that's supposed to protect me. So
and that's all I'm saying is pray to God here. That's all I got to say.
You don't have to just get beyond me. You still have to get beyond my bodyguard.
You're right. And maybe with my dominatrix ways, I mean, I understand the whole key term of a dominatrix is yes, you're in a role of dominance over, let's say, it could be male or female. It doesn't matter who. But in this case, yes, usually it's dominatrixes are mostly women that will take over men and make them more passive, and they're the, aggressor, I guess, if you want to call it. But I don't know, maybe there's different ways. I'm not looking up really the techniques of a fucking dominatrix here, but what I'm saying is maybe there are different things that I could do to manipulate a situation. I'm just not going to look them up because that's just kind of weird on my part to be doing that. But there probably is certain things that I could do in a situation like that. And again, you throwing dead hookers and being on acid, and yes, you're right. You could say your bodyguards, whatever. Hell, you could literally fucking be on acid and you could believe that, I don't know, fucking your bodyguards are something else, and you start throwing fucking dead hookers at them, and then you're out of a fucking bodyguard again, and then now you have to worry about still Dracula, which I still have to worry about that too, because that's not going to change. Because I can only do so much with a dildo shoving it up some like fucking Dracula's ass. I mean, I don't know how that's going to get me.
I don't think that's going to get you very far.
But exactly my point. I'm just saying. I think really this right now should be really more towards our listeners, because I think we can talk about it all day and we can say this, we can say that.
We do need you guys to comment. I don't think Kanye has much of a chance, but
I don't either.
I mean, with a bodyguard and perhaps if the dominatrix was there for me.
If the dominatrix.
I'm just saying, if the dominatrix was there for me, then I would have a secret word. Right? I would have a secret word.
Maybe, but you'd have to guess that word.
Well, no, because she would know it too, because she would have to know it. I would have to know it.
And that's depending on if you can remember in that moment.
Well, if I could remember.
It's all about memory. Because if you don't remember shit, then you're out of fucking luck, buddy.
Maybe I can remember it, maybe I won't, but I still have a bodyguard that is supposed to look out for me, even if I don't look out for myself.
I keep saying
that's what I'm holding on to. I'm holding on
to that. That's fine.
I'm paying my bodyguard probably millions to watch me. I'm
millions. I don't think billions. I'm
assuming he's watching me for me.
Okay.
Even if I might not be doing the best stuff
for you,
for myself. Which is hanging out with a enormous breasted dominatrix who can summon and command dildos and wants to kill me.
They want to kill you. Yeah. Look, I think
and maybe he gets the dildo up his ass and I'm just throwing dead hookers and I'm running my ass out of there.
I don't know. Again, the problem is even in Dracula's
And hey,
castle.
maybe I'm actually caught by Dracula and he kills me and you don't win at all. So who knows?
That's how you want to play it?
Who knows?
But then how do you know that you would do that? And how was it? And then if that's the case in every other fucking way, how would you think that you would win even with an AI trying to kill you, or the fact that, let's say, ghosts were trying to fucking kill you, or any of this other shit? I'm just saying.
Because I wasn't Kanye West.
oh, that's what you gotta fucking say. Yeah, everyone's like, oh, well, I'm also talking about the location here. I'm just saying.
Here I'm Kanye West.
I don't give a
rich
fuck.
I'm rich, motherfucker.
Lion fuck. If you're fucking goddamn Rick James, bitch, I don't give a fuck
Kanye
about that.
West. I'm throwing my dead hookers and I'm running the fucking other way.
I'm glad you're thinking that way, but I don't think you're right. Anyways, guys, because we could talk about this shit for days, I think you guys should decide on who's right and who's wrong, all this other bullshit, and try to figure out who exactly is going to be the master debater of the fucking geek multiverse over here. Again, you do what you want. I still think that, Matt's going to tell his story and I'm going to tell my story. So again, let us know, talk to us, go on YouTube, go wherever the fuck you want to do and just say, hey, this is who I think and explain why, because I'd love to hear it. But anyways, guys,
just remember, Kanye West is watching you.
And this dominatrix is just going to be watching you from a distance, just waiting for that dildo to fucking come at you. Anyways, guys, let's talk about fucking Deadpool and Wolverine here, because I was so excited. You know what? I'll admit, yes, I actually appreciated Matt. He did me a solid. He said, hey, we're going to go see a movie together. We're going to do it on this day. And I said, okay, cool. And so we did. And we went. It was like 8. Well, it's funny. We met up at early on. It was like 8 o'clock ish. It was like 8:10 or whatever. The movie didn't fucking start until closer to 9, which I was like, holy fuck. The movie should have started, I think it was like 8:20.
8 fucking previews in that movie.
No, I know, but why did it have
trailers.
to go 45 minutes? The movie, I believe the movie started at like 8:20 or whatever.
The showing was 8:15. It showed not just 8 trailers, but it was like, I don't know what the fuck AMC is doing. Okay, like, not only did they show 8 different movie trailers, but like they showed their their little movie thing of like, turn off your phones, like it's rude. And
I was just going to say,
they go into that, and then they go into like their, enjoy the movie kind of like little treatment. And then like right when you think like, oh, the lights are going to go out now. No, they show some fucking blonde chick, and then she's talking about how great movies are. And it's like, yeah, we want to see a great movie now. Just fucking play that. It's like,
well, it was funny.
The damn movie already.
It was funny though, because like when you were just talking about the whole, like they were just like, he's like, it's, it's rude to turn off or, keep your phones on while you're, doing this. And I'm sitting there like, I thought it was going to be like, why don't you all just shut the fuck up, turn off the goddamn, phones, make sure you're not fucking talking.
But that was the second time they played that clip though.
Like, I know, because they played it in the beginning.
They played it in the beginning, then they played all the trailers, and then they played it again, and then they did their stupid treatment for the second time.
And then they decided
then they played that
one more day at a time.
They played that stupid clip where she's talking about how great movies are, and they go through all these stupid people like eating popcorn and
I'm like, dude,
enjoying movies, and like that should be us right now enjoying this fucking movie.
Honestly, it should have been like fucking. It was like 20. Honestly, it was like 8:15.
It should have been us like 20 minutes ago.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say, literally, if it was like 10 or 15 minutes of just the previews and just call it a day. I mean, literally, we could have been in and out of there by like 10:30 or a little afterwards. No, we didn't leave until about like. Oh, actually, Matt and I were talking about a lot of stuff, but I think it was like closer to midnight by the time we actually got to fucking get home. I mean, granted,
it was a 2-hour movie, so I mean, the movie didn't start until like almost 9.
It was close to 9, and I was like, "Holy shit, guys! Like, why the fuck are we taking this long?" But anyways, I know we could get on to this, but like, let's talk about it, Matt. Like, so I know we got some interesting stuff here, but like, let's talk about Blade first. We'll talk about this real quick because like, this guy, Wesley Snipes.
This was like I think one of the more surprising cameos that was in the movie. And yes, spoiler alert, we are talking about the movie. If you haven't seen it, it's already made 1.15 billion. So if you haven't seen it, I don't know what the fuck rock you're living under, but you need to just go and see it.
Bro, it's going to hit 2 billion. If it doesn't, I'll be very fucking surprised.
It won't hit 2 billion.
Buddy, it's already at 1.5.
It's not going to be playing forever.
No, but it's not even been out for a month yet.
It's not going to hit 2 billion.
Buddy, or actually, it's pretty close to a month. I think it's going to hit 2 billion. If you guys think it's not, then by all means, enlighten me. I think it's going to hit 2 billion. If it's at already 1.5 and it's only been close to a month now,
1.15.
Oh, I thought you said 1.5. I thought you said
1.15.
Sorry, 1.15.
Yeah.
Okay.
I could see maybe 1.3.
You're okay. I'm going to say this. I think it will hit over 1.5. That's me. I think it'll hit 1.5, maybe a little bit over. Now that I understand, I thought you said 1.5, not 1.15. But yes.
Yeah, 1.15.
If it's already close to been a month and it's already hit $1 billion or a little over $1 billion, I will still say that it will at least hit the 1.5 mark, if not a little bit more. Now that I understand. But anyways, no, like, so with Blade, right? It was interesting enough, like, and this is where I think a lot of people need to understand this. Okay. And I know Matt and I know this very well. And again, if you're a Marvel comic book nerd, you know this as well. Blade, like the movies themselves that Fox created, because again, it was under Marvel's name at the time. Those movies that came out in the late 90s, early 2000s from Blade, that was their saving grace for Marvel. Those people don't understand that Blade actually was the one that saved Marvel into what basically Robert Downey Jr. was doing in 2008 and so on and so forth. Incredible Hulk and whatever else. My point is, guys, if Blade didn't fucking do so well back then, Marvel would not have been around roughly today because of how it did. And so when we saw Blade, especially Wesley Snipes' version of this, and again, being in Fox's world, you know, it was interesting enough when there was just a lot going on. I mean, you saw his face, you saw his haircut, you saw all the costume and everything else. And it was just like, that's the Blade you saw back in the day. Granted, not with the white hair a little bit, but like, you know, you basically, like, that was him. Like, and he acted the same. There was no differences. It literally was just like an older version of him. And it was perfect. I honestly thought it was like, you couldn't have changed that to make it any better. I think it was just perfect the way it was.
Yeah. And I mean, it was a surprising cameo because, I mean, I think initially they weren't going to have him in there. And like, it was rumored that he was going to be in it. And then when you actually see like his role in it, like, he had a significant, it wasn't just a cameo. Like he was he
was a pivotal part.
He was a side character. Like he was actually a character that was pivotal in the story. And, it's really, I mean, Wesley Snipes' Blade will always be one of the characters that I always will love because of just how he played the character.
Well, and not only that, it's also hard to realize that, yes, unfortunately, he's already gotten to the point where if Marvel would have done it sooner, that he would have been a perfect Blade moving forward, and he could have, it could have been a great little side story in moving forward, whatever. I understand that, unfortunately, because of his age and that, he's probably, he's thinking to himself, like, I want to just do this one real quick, and then I'm just going to let them kind of decide on who's next, right? And so we look at Mahershala Ali, and yes, he's another, like, he doesn't, I mean, he looks like him, but he not quite like acts like him, but like it's pretty damn close. And I would say you're pretty damn close to getting what you could see with Wesley Snipes' version in a sense, in my opinion, right? There's not many people that I could say that this guy and this guy look almost, I'm not saying identical, but they're close enough where you could say, you know what, that's fine. I can see how this works and that's perfect. There's nothing you should be doing any differently. Because if they said somebody else was going to play him, I'd fucking go up to them and smack the living shit out of them and be like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Why don't you keep the goddamn same guy that you've been working on for the last fucking 5 years now and you still haven't fucking done anything with? Anyways, that's a whole nother topic. But, some of the things about Blade, though, so like some of the lines, though, I think, and I know Matt and I will probably go a little bit more, but one of my favorites, it was a one little fucking comment, and it was that real quick one. He was just like, he's like, because they were talking about, he's like, oh, there's been multiple of me. He's like, well, there's only one Blade. It was just like a real quick little zinger. And he was
one Blade, there's only ever going to be one Blade. Yeah.
And I'm like, that's fucking perfect. Like, that was like, you couldn't have changed that any better. But now, granted, I understand with Mahershala Ali being hopefully the next Blade, that's going to change. But like in that moment, in that scene, it was just like, what else could you have said? Anything better? Like, that was just fucking perfect.
Yeah, I mean, he's not wrong. And I mean, the one that I do love that line, but I do love the, a little bit towards kind of the ending part. He just sends out this like, motherfuckers are still trying to ice skate uphill, and it's like, you remember that line from the movies, and it's like, as soon as he says it, you're like, yeah, it's like that's fucking Blade right there.
I'm not saying I don't remember that. It's just, it's because I probably haven't seen it in so long that unless it was like in the very first movie.
He says it in the first movie.
Yeah, I'll have to rewind. Now I feel like an asshole. Now I clearly need to rewatch it. It's one of those ones
where like he does kind of this like, he kind of twirls the blade and like stops and like kind of does like a pose, and he's like, motherfuckers are always trying to ice skate up.
Oh, is that when he like it's like his legs extended out and he's like doing that, and then he says that shit?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's towards like the end of the movie, but in this one, they're all kind of coming at him, and he's like, motherfuckers are still trying to ice skate uphill. And it's like you just see him do it, and there's a few scenes in there like, where there's one of the X-Men kind of villains are coming at him, and he just kind of pulls out the gun that he uses, like the little spike.
Oh yeah, yep.
Throwing gun, and he just you just see him like the shot's right down the arm, and he just fires it, and it's like classic Blade right there.
I would have also liked to seen his actual blades that he actually uses too. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, I mean, he might have been using them, but you had to really like look through like the chaos to.
Oh no, I mean, there was a lot of shit going on.
What they were doing, I mean,
it wasn't, and that was the thing. It was like, with him, Gambit, and Elektra, it was just like they're all doing their own shit. They're just like, it's like flying everywhere. You're just, granted, you're more really focusing on Deadpool and Wolverine, but it's like you see them for a little bit, and they're just like fighting and doing random shit. But you're just like, you're hoping that they stick to like what they use, like with Blade, with his actual blades too, besides the guns that he's using. Gambit, kind of more. Throwing his playing cards and, doing shit and like having his staff, like his, I don't even remember what the hell, like his actual, is it like Sonic or Psionic or whatever? It's like it's like energy, it's like an energy blast staff or something like that. It's the same thing that he uses with the cards.
Yeah,
he transfers it.
Yeah, he charges it basically. Yeah,
and then of course Elektra's like size, or like your little mini swords in a sense. It's kind of like Raphael's like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle kind of style,
right?
Things. But like, actually go ahead, Matt, because I know you got one more thing to kind of say about Blade here.
Yeah, no, I mean, Blade, like I said, he's been just one of those characters, and Ryan Reynolds had said at one point, like, he would like to do a Logan send-off for Blade, similar to, like, Hugh Jackman in Logan. If you haven't seen Logan, they kind of ended his Wolverine character in that movie. And, Ryan Reynolds is interested in kind of doing the same thing for Blade as kind of a send-off. And I personally don't like the idea. And there is a couple of reasons. And one of them is like, I am concerned because I would feel like Disney, to be honest, like, let's be honest.
It's not just Marvel, but yeah.
But Marvel / Disney, I think would just use it kind of as like the vehicle or an excuse to like push the current agenda that they're doing, and it wouldn't give him a proper ending. It would just be a vehicle that they would use to move forward with whatever agenda, like whether it's a female Blade or, they're never going to do a white version of Blade.
No,
but I mean,
but see, the thing is that would be racist, right?
Oh, that would be racist. I'm sorry, everybody. That's racist.
If you made a white Blade.
Wow. I apologize.
Well, I'm just saying, right? Because if you made him white,
that's racist. In today's world, that's racist.
It would be.
Yeah,
but because
I don't want to get canceled.
But again, you want to make sure that you included with everything else. But no,
I just it wouldn't give him a proper ending. It would push whatever agenda Marvel wanted to do. We would see Blade's, Wesley Snipes' Blade character die. And it would be, like Logan, we were almost expecting the X-23 character to kind of take over.
Well, right, because of how Marvel has been doing it with all, with like, again, Hawkeye and Hulk and everybody the fuck else that you basically have been looking at. And the one thing I was going to mention real quick is that, with Disney and Marvel, and like we were just talking about with their agenda, it's pretty fucking sad that when you have to look at Blade as a character like this, and you're thinking to yourself, well, we don't want to use, DI, in the sense of doing it. It's like, again, he was your saving grace. And I said to literally keep Marvel around for what it was. So why would you fuck it all up? And I'm not saying it's not Ryan's fault. It's just more the fact that, you're right. Like in the way they ended the movie, in the sense of like, or really when they ended that scene and then both of them jumped out and they were moving on basically with themselves and they're kind of left behind in a sense. Just leave it like that. Don't ever fucking bring it up again. Just leave it alone. Yeah, don't ever fucking bring it up again because that's basically they're in the void.
Leave Wesley Snipes alone. I would say leave Jennifer Garner's Elektra alone. If you want to continue developing Ali's version of Blade, or you want to go develop another version of Elektra, go for it.
Right.
But like I would say, just leave their characters alone. Like let them just exist. You don't have to do anything else. You can maybe mention, Blade's doing this or Blade's doing that. And then once Ali has that movie and we have a new version, you don't have to go back to Wesley Snipes. I mean, he's probably on a different universe doing whatever Blade does on that universe. Like, you don't have to go back to him.
Right. Now, on the flip side, because I know we're going to probably move forward here, but like with Gambit, like this one was surprising. This was another really good cameo that I honestly did not know if it actually was going to be fruition, because the thing about Gambit, right, he was actually one of my other favorite like X-Men characters. I loved Gambit. I loved Wolverine. I loved a lot of them, but Gambit was a unique individual, right? Because he was just, grew up in the bayou, was Cajun. He just had the, Remy LeBeau, like, I don't know. He just had that charm about him, and it was kind of cool, and I loved his powers, but like, this version of Gambit, right? So what a lot of people may not know, unless you, again, knew anything about the X-Men universe and all this other shit, right? So you had X-Men Wolverine, or actually, no, sorry, it was Wolverine Origins. So you had Wolverine Origins, and it showed a different version of Gambit, and a Gambit that the only way I could, unless you know who he was, I know the actor was, I think it was like John Carter. There was a few other movies that he was a part of, but not the point. So he played Gambit in that movie, but interestingly enough, Channing Tatum was supposed to be Gambit. And then later, it was actually supposed to be back, I think it was like 2016. It was like earlier on or whatever. And they never made the damn movie for whatever fucking reason. It had something to do with Fox or whatever. They just were like, we're not going to make it, the script or whatever. So it never came to be. So we never actually got to see it. So when I heard that in this movie, the Gambit was going to come in, I was like, oh. And then I'm like, wait a minute, are they going to bring in Channing Tatum? Because that movie was supposed to happen. They never brought it in. They never did anything with it. And then when I heard that he was playing him, I was like, oh my fucking God, this is great. And I know a lot of people might be like, oh, it's fucking Channing Tatum. I get it. I understand. Everyone's like, well, he's overrated. He's this and that. I'm like, okay, well, there's also other actors that I can also say that were a lot of overrated. There's all this other bullshit. But, okay, and I know Matt is going to also have his opinions on this, but for the most part, besides maybe a couple things that we could tweak, I think he did a good job playing said character. That's just me. I know there's some critiques here, and I know you're going to talk about it, so I'm going to let you go ahead and enlighten that a little bit.
Yeah, no, I mean, I did like, there's not a lot of things that I like Channing Tatum in. G.I. Joe.
I never said, listen, I already told you that I didn't agree. I agree with you.
But I think with what we got from him with Gambit, outside of the voice work, I think his voice and accent, yes, if we get him in another X-Men movie or a movie in the future, I think they can do more work with him and make the accent better.
Yeah.
But I think like what we got, and especially like in those action scenes, if you take the dialogue pieces out, and I know like, we were watching some of the memes, which are hilarious.
Oh, no,
like,
they're fucking hilarious.
Oh, they're hilarious. But like you take some of those like dialogue pieces out and you just put in like the action fighting scene of him like, stretching out the cards and they're all glowing pink. And then he's like attaching them to everybody. And, he kind of laughs and like throws the card up and it, twirling the staff around. And, he did a tremendous job.
Oh, that was Gambit. Like, to me, when I looked at that is your live action Gambit. Like that is what it should look like. And the fact that I thought one of my favorite parts was when, he walks in and he sees Wolverine drinking his fucking whiskey, and he's like, "Hey, what gives you the right to be drinking another man's whiskey, whatever?" He's like, "Well, fuck you, bub." And he's like, "Okay." And he throws the fucking, he's like, and he like breaks the bottle in half, and he's just like, and now granted, Wolverine's like, "Oh, fuck it." And he grabs another whiskey and he just keeps drinking it. But it was just like that quick, like, bam, like fucking blows the shit. Just says,
Which
"Hey,
that was,
shit."
I mean, that was, I think, one of my things that I was kind of questioning in my brain, because I know, at least in the cartoon series, animated series.
The animated. Go ahead.
It's not a cartoon, it's an animated show,
motherfucker.
Oh, damn it.
Piece of shit.
But in the animated X-Men series, especially like the newer one, Gambit and Wolverine like were X-Men together. And so like when he walks in and he was like, I don't think we've been acquainted. I don't know why you're drinking my alcohol. Like, one of the first things that came to my mind is like, does he not know what a Wolverine looks like? Has he not been introduced to Wolverine? Because I'm pretty sure they all look similar.
I mean, yeah, but I think for the sake of the argument here, I think for the fact that, yes, if we're basing it off of the animated show or, the extension of it, yes, you're right. They were X-Men together. They knew who they were, all this other stuff. Now, granted, again, this is why I'm saying this. Like when you look at that version of Gambit in, Wolverine Origins versus this Gambit, I'm not, and again, this is where you can start to explain, well, this is a different variant, and then this is blah, blah, blah. Like, you can go down that rabbit hole, and we're not going to do that. But, like, this version of Gambit may not have, and again, because, I know he's just doing it. I think it's more, and this is where you'll understand, guys, once you get to see it. But, like, I know Matt and I know that, this version of Gambit was, like, he was basically making fun of himself, saying, well, he's like, well,
when I shot up my dad is,
Yeah. He's like, well, I guess I wouldn't know because blah, blah, blah. He was like, but because he's like, well, nothing. He's like, I didn't know anything about this or whatever. But it was like saying that he was like, well, I don't know because he's like, I never had basically a movie. So he was just making fun of himself in that sense. But like, it was just it was the one thing that I thought of, like when he saw Wolverine, it wasn't like, I don't know. I mean, I guess I wasn't really expecting him to be like, Wolverine, like, hey, how's it going? Like I wasn't really expecting like that kind of a response, but like I would have almost expected like an acknowledgement of like, I know who you are, but I don't want you drinking my fucking alcohol. Or he'd be like, yo, Logan, cut the shit, or something stupid. Like, no, I agree with you. I'm not saying that it should have not been the case. I just think that unfortunately,
if he just kind of dropped like, hey, Logan, like, don't drink my alcohol, like,
kind of like quick-witted, because even though Gambit,
because then you could have had that response back, like, do you know me, bub? Like,
like that quick little, I know what you're saying. And I also know that, well, you know this too, even with Gambit. Gambit likes to talk in the third person. So he likes to talk about himself. He's like, well, Gambit like to do that, blah, 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 blah. And like, so I'm surprised. It almost seemed like he didn't really do that as much in this movie too, a little bit. He was just like,
yeah, I mean, there was a little bit different thing, but I think like if we get to see him again, like hopefully, there are a little bit more tie-ins, and I think with what we've seen and with how much money the movie did make, I think there's a good possibility that we'll see him again, and I'd love to see him again. Like I said, there just needs to be, I think, more work and more, because I think like when you actually do see, him in the cartoon and in the comics, like what I was also looking for was like when he did a lot of the powers, seeing the eyes change.
Oh, you're talking about like, because technically you're right. It's like the black kind of, it's really his red eyes in a sense. And it was like his black kind of surrounding it.
Right.
I know what you're talking about. And that's because they could have used like contacts or something like that to make it believable. But I was also kind of thinking about it too now, did his outfit kind of look like the comics a little bit, or did it, because I don't think it, you know what I'm saying? Because like he had like almost like a trench coat in a sense, and like he had certain things about him.
And I think in particular ones, yes. Not all of them, no, but I think in certain ones, yes. I did see pictures of like a comic or cartoon version where the outfit was very, very like similar.
Okay, because I didn't really like pay attention to that. Honestly, I was just kind of more like, oh my god, this is great.
That's the one draw to this movie, and we'll get to that a little bit later on, which isn't very far from now. But
that too.
How close a lot of it is to like the comic book and you know all the variants that we see and the different things, how close like they are to the comic book versions. And yeah, his outfit, you know, does kind of look like very similar to like I said, I don't know what book it is in particular, but
you can go look at that up. The one thing I real quick, because I know we're going to talk about it next, is some of the Deadpool and Wolverine fights that we see in the movie. I think in the very beginning of the damn movie, I heard about the whole, bye, 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 like he's doing that. I thought it was fucking hilarious. That this is the best part, guys. So this is just in the first fucking few minutes of the film. So Deadpool, again, he finds Wolverine, the version of his Wolverine in the universe that he's in, because he's dead. It's actually Logan's. It's that movie, but where he's finding him, and then what he does is he finds him, he picks him up, and he's like, "Well, fuck!" And it's all his adamantium like skin, not his skin, but his bones, basically his skull and everything else. And then, of course, the TVA comes out of nowhere, and all you see is fucking Deadpool like, "Okay, you want to fucking play? I got you." He's like, "Hey, Logan, let's help me out here." He just takes every fucking bone that he can grab from Logan and beats the living shit out of everybody. And then, he takes his fucking skull, does all kinds of stupid shit. He takes his fucking, what was it? He takes, the claws. He puts it on himself, and he starts using it to, just beat the fuck out. I mean, these guys were seriously dead in a matter of, minutes. But I was like, it was funny because it was just, all you could hear is the NSYNC, Bye 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 song. And it was just fucking hilarious. It was perfect. It was the best, first few minutes of the film. And I was like, I don't know how you could get any better than this. But, of course, there's more fight scenes later on. But, the first few minutes of this film, I'm like, they're so... It's, unforgettable. Literally, you'll be like, yep, I already know the first few minutes. Because, that was one of the best fight scenes, even in the beginning. But, my other favorite was when they're in the van. And they're both, oh, you want to fucking go? And it almost, because again, it's like a montage, but it's like they're trying to say, oh, you want to fuck? And it's like, they're fighting, they're beating the shit out of each other. But oh, okay. So, okay. Yeah, it's similar. Sorry guys. Matt was just showing me a little Gambit side by side here, but yes, I would say it's similar as they can get. I mean, colors wise, they could change a bit, but
I think it's pretty close. Yeah, I mean, color wise, it's a little different, but yeah, it's very, very similar. But and the color wise, it could be because of the void.
Well, yeah, that too.
They do a little bit of a film color grading on it that's different than the rest of the movie, but
no, that's fine. And then, but anyways, guys, so the one scene that I know, Matt, we were just talking about, when it's basically, again, this is a little innuendos. It's basically showing you, they're wanting to fuck each other in the van, but they're not really doing that. They're just beating the shit out of each other.
I love that fight, and it's partly because of the song.
Oh no,
I got chills, they multiply.
No, I thought it was
just
funny.
They're fucking fighting, and it's
it was just it was unexpected because then all of a sudden you're just they're beating the shit out of each other, and then they wake up and they're like, huh? And they're just there's
and what's funny and what starts it is Hugh Jackman is he's just going off verbally. He's just verbally going off on Deadpool.
Oh, he's going hard.
He is going so hard and just finishes with saying that his wife basically was a hooker. And Deadpool just sits there silent for a few seconds and goes, "We're going to fight now." and he looks at him and he just kind of laughs and then punches him right in the nose. Then I think it shocks him at first. And then that's where it just gets crazy from there.
Well,
it's such a crazy fight. Cause once one's in the van and then he jumps back in, and then the other is out of the van and then he jumps back in. And
I mean, literally those two, when you start to look at them together, it's just, because Deadpool, because I think what was it? I think Wolverine was like, do you ever shut the fuck up? Like literally, he's like, do you ever shut the fuck up? And it's like, he's like, no, you don't want me to. Or like, he said something really quick-witted, and it was just like, he's like, Jesus fucking Christ. Like, he wanted to like beat the shit out of him more, but it's like, like throughout the movie, it's like you see him for the first time, and it's like, of course, Wolverine is basically shit-faced. The first time he sees him, he's like,
well, that was like, I mean, the whole thing in the van was, Ryan was, asking him about the yellow, why the yellow costume. Like, it seems counterintuitive to go out on a battlefield with a yellow costume. And Wolverine didn't want to answer it because, like, the costume meant something to him. And it was really like, he was like, could you just shut the fuck up? And then he does like the Spider-Man, and then, something else is said. And then it's like, that's when the whole kind of fight started. But the fight in the van is like one of my favorite fights. And obviously like their very first fight in the void, like, especially when he's all hunched over and the claws come out, and like he just does, let's fucking go. And you actually see him like do like the running crawl like over to him.
Oh yeah.
It's like, oh, it's on. It's like, it's on. It's on.
Well, and like even some of the fights that, both Wolverine and Deadpool are in. I mean, like, first of all, when you get to see Sabretooth, for God's sakes, the Sabretooth that you see in the Fox universe, and you're just like, holy shit. And then Deadpool's like, wait. He's like, hold on, let me fix you up here. And he's just like sitting there fixing them all up. He's like, all right, we've been waiting for years for this shit. We want to make sure this is all right and nice and everything else. And everyone's just like,
could you shut the fuck up?
Ooh, okay, let me fucking like get out of the way here. He does his thing, and of course he fucking annihilates the shit out of Sabretooth in like 2 seconds. He just cuts his head off.
I love like he picks up Sabretooth's head, and he does like the Mad Max like Furiosa like speech.
He's like, oh yes.
He's like, I've got your queen. Like, it's like you're doing a Mad Max quote.
And then the other thing, right? So, and I know this is kind of like again, spoiler alert here. So then when you see, this hooded figure jump out of nowhere, and you're like,
oh, he's so excited.
Like, oh my God, what the fuck is going on here? And you don't know who it is. And all of a sudden you just see him like pull it off. And then all of a sudden you're like, it's Chris Evans. You're like, holy shit. But then you're like, wait a minute.
I knew who it was right when
I know.
He landed.
Right when he landed. But what it was because again, everyone's like, oh, and I love Deadpool. He was like, oh my God, it's him. It's Cap. Oh my God, let him do the thing. And he's sitting there, he's getting all fan geeky and he's doing his shit. And then all of a sudden you hear, he's like, oh, he's going to say it. He's going to say it. And he's like, Avengers Assemble. And then he's like, flame on. And you're like, he's like, who the fuck is this guy?
Which was stupid because you have other, X-Men who, actually has flame as an ability,
No, yeah, and I mean the thing is though is like when you look at Chris Evans and you start to look at that shit, and I thought to myself, it's funny to see how. Which
honestly, I think he probably would have. His character actually probably would have died in that moment.
Oh no, absolutely, absolutely.
Because I don't know honestly. I mean, yes, he has a flame ability, but I don't think his body in any shape or form was super. Well, other than the fire.
No, but the problem was I don't even think he was wearing a suit.
No, he was.
Oh, was it underneath? I didn't know if he was.
Yeah, it was underneath like all the stuff, but like he had like the fire sucked out of him. But when he landed, he landed right on his nuts on that thing, and then and then he fell like where his head went this way and his body went the other way. And then he fell the other way. It was like he would have died there, but somehow he was fine. If he was Cap, he would have been fine.
Oh no, he would have been great. I mean, apparently he would have had steel balls or something because it wouldn't have never affected him. But again, with Human Torch over here, it's like, oh, he's like, oh shit, and he like falls over, and it's like, well, clearly you're not Cap anymore. Yeah. Apparently, apparently that shit's gonna hurt you. No, I don't know. There's just a lot of, like I said, yeah, there's a lot of shit. I mean,
And then when she sucked the fucking skin and
Oh
crap
my-
off, I was
oh
like,
my God.
I was like, oh my gosh! And then all the bones and stuff like just fell to the ground.
dude, that was honestly a very,
It was like-
that was disgusting. That was like, holy shit. I didn't expect that to happen.
And then the one character you're like, it was Wolverine goes, you just got that guy killed.
And he blames Deadpool because he was like, well, you didn't hear what you said? And as we were driving up here, he was like, and then, because, okay, we're not going to talk about it, but like, let's just know that this whole Johnny Storm.
You can't even like repeat what you said.
No. But the problem, so guys, I will tell you this now, there is an Easter egg at the very end. Well, it's not really an Easter egg. It's more just like a explanation of what was going on in the movie.
Yeah.
So just know that what we're talking about with Johnny Storm and like, you killed him. Let's just say that particular scene is very important because you'll know why at the very end of the movie once you see it. But anyways, I know we're going to talk about it a little bit more here with different cameos and shit like that. But like, I mean, the amount of cameos, it surprised the fuck out of me because we're talking all the way from Fox universe of X-Men. So, I mean, I'm just going to name a few here, but like,
Are we skipping all the way down to the bottom?
well, just for a second. But like, we're talking, Sabretooth. We're talking Toad. We're talking Pyro, Lady Deathstrike, Psylocke, the fucking Juggernaut, which apparently it's not the original, but it's a newer Juggernaut that they replaced him with.
Yes.
I didn't realize the Blob was in that. I honestly did not see him.
Yeah, I mean, he's not...
It's probably not the same dude that played him, if I was to take a guess.
No, it's not.
I mean, and then you got, like, of course, Elektra, Gambit, Blade, of course, X-23, Human Torch. And then, of course, the biggest thing, fucking Ant-Man's corpse that you see fucking as the base of operations for, Cassandra and all them. It's like, okay, cool. Apparently we have a dead Ant-Man all of a sudden because we don't know what the fuck actually happened to him. And then you got, like, random ones like Callisto and Azazel and... a few others, like, some people that you may or may not remember from like way back when. It was more like some of them were like an X-Men. It was like was it The Last Stand? I think like some of them there, and like the third movie, and a few other random shits through like what is it? I'm trying to remember now. It's like, was it The First Class and like other shit like that moving forward? It was like in that weird kind of realm. Like after they did the whole trilogy of X-Men, they, when they did the new X-Men, in a sense, those kind of characters randomly do show up too from time to time. But anyways, so it was interesting to see all that.
Did you mention the Russian?
The Russian?
Yeah. The Russian was
the
from
Punisher
the,
film. Sorry.
He was from the
original,
the
right.
Thomas Jane
version, yes.
which was played by Kevin Nash.
I did not realize Kevin Nash.
Yeah, it was played by Kevin Nash.
I don't
This
think
one
it was-
obviously was a different.
Yeah, it was not.
It wasn't as big as Kevin Nash, but
No, if you guys didn't know, Kevin Nash is like 7'1". So yeah.
but yeah, I mean the
size.
same guy that did. I mean Ray Park was back for Toad. Jason Fleming did Azazel. Tyler Mane was Sabretooth. So I mean the same people, and I think the same person that played Callisto. Aaron Stanford was Pyro again. Some of the other ones were different, obviously. Like I think the Blob was different, the Russian was different, Psylocke, I believe, might have been different.
yeah.
Juggernaut was different.
Juggernaut, you could definitely tell because it was just the head. The head alone, you could be like, yeah, that's
So
not
yeah,
some dude.
the Juggernaut was Aaron W. Reed, who has a long-standing connection to Ryan Reynolds. He was if you've ever seen Free Guy,
I have.
he was the very
Big version.
He was the very built version of Ryan
him.
Reynolds in that movie.
Oh, so that would make sense. But
So that's who that was.
so then, well, we can talk about either the variants or some of the Easter eggs. It's up to you.
Yeah, we can go into some of the Easter eggs. So I'm going to skip that kind of first section there. So there, a lot of like in the void. So we're going to go into the void and talk about some of the objects and the vehicles because there's actually a lot. And I know, John, you missed some of these.
The problem is the problem was it was too much going on. That was the problem.
But I actually have to look up one. But some of these things, like there was a lot of things that were, kind of discarded in the void. So you could see Captain America's shield, Chitauri Leviathan corpse from the Avengers. Part of the castle of Asgard was in there from Thor Ragnarok.
What?
The statue of Wanda Maximoff from Doctor Strange was in there.
So hold on.
The 20th Century Fox logo was in
that
there.
I did see. I did see that one. No, but what I'm curious about is how, there's like random shit from like all the different movies and stuff so far are randomly in the void. So like, is what I'm hearing that if magic comes into play here, so like basically if they're like, oh, we're going to send this somewhere else, it just goes to the void. You know what I'm saying? Like, is that what happens? So like anything that happens in some of the movies, it's just like, we're just going to throw it in the void and we're just going to pretend like it didn't happen.
Well, I think, yeah, I mean, that's probably exactly what probably happened.
I just didn't.
So this was, from what I understand, it was a Hydra Captain America shield, not
interesting
actual Captain America shield. But there was also a classic Thor helmet. This was the metal helmet with the wings on it.
So it almost seems like, because didn't they? Oh no, they didn't. That's right, because they didn't show. Because I'm thinking like Loki, the TV show. Like I'm thinking like season 1. When they showed the other variants of Lokis and stuff. Could it have been like like the original or the classic Loki, the older version of Loki? You know what I'm saying? Like, could that have been like his Thor's like helmet or something? Like, you know what I mean? That's the only thing I could think of in that moment. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it just kind of looked like a classic version of that.
Yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. Like I said, a lot of these things were very, very quick to go by.
Like like the Chitauri Leviathan, course
that
in
was
the
like
Avengers.
The big flying creatures that were in Avengers.
I remember. Yeah. I just don't remember that being in the film.
Oh, they're in there. Yeah, they're all in there. There were a few others. I know I had seen like the big round ship, which is I think in the vehicles. The big round Thanos Black Order Q ship was in there. Like that's I think the long one that's kind of spiraled on the ends.
Really?
The circular one that Thanos was in.
Oh yeah.
That one was in there. Guardians of the Galaxy ship. I don't know what that's called. I'm sure it has a name.
I didn't realize that the Red Skull's car.
Yes, that was the old fashioned car with the flames on it.
No shit. I never would have. I didn't think that. I honestly didn't realize that was the connection.
The ice cream truck from Moon Knight. Now, if you haven't seen Moon Knight,
then you got to get on it.
Then you got to get on it if you want to know what the ice cream truck is all about. Because the ice cream truck from Moon Knight's in there. Deadpool's chimichanga truck is in there.
I haven't seen it in a while, but I see. This is the thing. It's like I almost have to watch that scene just to see the truck, and then try to see it. That's why I'm hoping with these. Hopefully, when they put it on like Blu-ray or whatever, I can see all
the Shield helicarriers in there, and believe it or not, there is a Fantastic Four Fantastic car.
Which, okay, technically, if I can remember correctly, they have a. It's not really a car. It's more like a shuttle, or because it
like hovers hovers above the ground, but it actually makes like different kind of futuristic noises, but it looks straight out from the 60s.
Okay, because I literally missed that one. I never would have.
They were driving it.
I don't remember, bro. There was so much fucking going on that I wasn't paying attention to what fucking vehicle was what and where did it come from.
So yeah, I mean, there's just literally, there's a lot going on. I mean, I think one of the biggest ones was obviously you see a huge, Cassandra Nova's base is like a huge dead Ant-Man.
That's why I literally said that earlier. I said the fact that Ant-Man was, he's dead, and then it's all of a sudden you just see a giant corpse of him, and you actually see his skull. And everything. So it's like, so clearly there's something going on here. And could that have been like his also, instead of Ant-Man, could it have been like Yellow Jacket? Because that was his like other version of him in a sense. But no, like the other things that, I was going to say too.
Oh, and the Doctor Strange, Cassandra Nova had the.
Right.
I don't know what you call them, but the little.
It's basically whatever Peter Parker's. His buddy, remember when he was like doing that shit? Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't remember his name. But anyways, like, yeah, the shit that basically made him like open a portal, like Wong would do the same thing in a sense.
And all the shit that was in Happy's office too.
Was in the fucking film?
When he goes and sees Happy like back in the past, like you see the half done Captain America shield.
Right. No, I did see
also
that.
in Iron Man.
Right.
The little toy, there was a little toy Iron Man helmet that was kind of behind him on the table.
Okay.
That was in front of a picture of Tony and Peter, which was supposed to be like,
but Civil War-ish.
That was supposed to be like when Peter was younger, he had like the toy version of the helmet.
Gotcha.
But yeah, there were like all the different things. Like you could see the little, in one of the Iron Mans when Tony's playing with this stupid desktop thing, like physics thing, and it's like, the little toy thing that's like supposed to just spin.
Yeah.
And, she grabs it and puts it away or whatever. That's behind Happy on his desk, So there's like little tiny things that you like can notice.
The biggest thing is whoever did all this fucking shit, good for you. That's just a lot of fucking work, especially the amount of times that you've had to go see this movie to figure out all this shit. Because not many people would be like, oh, I know exactly what that is and where it's from. I'm not gonna lie. I wouldn't know where half of the shit, you know what I mean? Like I would have had to go back and like literally look at like, oh, hey, this is exactly what this is.
I looked up some of them, so
I'm just saying, like, I'm just throwing it out there though. Like, once we can get an actual, like, we can pause it and actually see these things like in person. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's really hard to tell in a movie theater. You would have had to at least get a legal copy of it and then be like, oh, I know exactly what this thing is, and so on and so forth. All I'm saying is like that's just too much fucking work. And I know both you and I are going to sit there and be like, okay, we're going to know exactly where this is from. And from this fucking movie at this scene at this time, I'm like, I don't give a fuck. As long as it's in there, great. That's all I need to know. The biggest thing though, another thing that I really do want to talk about real quick before we go into like the different variants and shit like that. Probably one of the most epic things that we could have also seen in this movie was Wolverine putting on his fucking mask. The actual original mask.
Yes.
Because you saw his actual suit and the way it was actually supposed to be with the yellow, blue, kind of the actual X-Men kind of vibe. So when he puts on his fucking mask, it's the long kind of like ear, I don't even know how to describe it, like the ears that he would have and like basically the whiteout, kind of eye sockets in a sense. Like that is, I was like, holy shit. I'm like, that is literally the best X-Men Wolverine we could have gotten right then and fucking there. And when he put on that fucking mask, I was like,
and he has it pretty much for the rest of the movie, except to like
towards the end,
which is pretty epic. But yeah, him putting the mask on, it's like, it's pretty epic.
Well, and guys, I'm like, literally, if this is why I keep saying like when Marvel does is as close to comic book accurate as you can get. I mean, that was literally as close to fucking comic book accurate you could get literally on live screen. Like it was like that fucking good. It made perfect sense. And honestly, it was just amazing. I was like, oh my God. I'm like, thank you. I'm like, thank you for actually doing it. I was like, thank you for not just like making him not have a mask. I'm like, he needs to have it. Like, this is who he is. Yeah. But
I mean, if they did it earlier, it wouldn't have had the same impact, I think. But
no, but I mean, granted, he put it on right before he was about to go against, the Deadpool variants, who we're going to be now talking about in a second.
Yeah, we probably just have to go through these because we are running out of time. Because I do want to go through the Wolverine variants, because the Deadpool variants aren't really explained, but if you look them up, you kind of know
who they are.
Who they are, and I'll first like skip all the way down towards the bottom to Nice Pool, because if you don't know, you just don't know, because you would think, oh, it's just Ryan Reynolds playing this. But it's not.
Interesting, because I never would have known that.
And I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm just getting trolled on this, but I'm going to look it up. So just talk.
Okay. Oh, just talk. Okay. Well, anyway, so there are different ones. So there's Headpool, who literally it's a zombie head, but a talking basically head. You have Dogpool, which Probably some of the grossest scenes Deadpool could have ever had with another character. Because literally all he would do is he's like, "Oh, come here, Mary Poppins," because that's the actual name of the dog. It was a little gross, but I was like, okay, whatever. It was a nice little scene there. And then you got Kid Pool, Baby Pool. Technically in the film, Kid Pool and Baby Pool were actually his own kids, which I know both of us know that, but and including Lady Pool, which is actually not on this list. Lady Pool, it is on the list. So Lady Pool is actually Blake Lively, who's actually his real life wife, which was kind of nice to see. But go ahead, because I know you're going to talk about Nice Pool here.
Yeah, so Nice Pool, it's actually kind of a funny thing, because in the credits, it's listed as Gordon Reynolds, which is supposed to be
his twin brother or something.
His twin brother, but the twin brother is fictional.
Of course he is.
Because the twin brother is actually just Ryan Reynolds playing
Gordon Reynolds.
No
shit.
Yeah, no shit. So yeah, Nice Pool is actually Ryan Reynolds. It's not a Gordon whatever.
Which I could have said that.
But he still gave this fictional twin a credit in the movie.
Oh, I mean.
But yeah, I mean, Nice Pool, Peter Pool, Deadpool 2099, which is the one that you kind of had the laser, sticks. Zen Pool, Golden Age Deadpool, the Ronin Pool, Welsh Pool, which is one of his soccer, the other guy that he runs a soccer team with.
Yeah, the Wrexham, whatever the hell it's called. I know what you're talking about, but and then really the Deadpool core, that's really the kind of the gist of it, because the Deadpool core is basically all of them, including basically every Deadpool you could ever see on screen, because that's what they were showing. Because Nice Pool was saying, "Oh, don't worry, the Deadpool core is you don't want to fuck with those guys." And
yeah, some of these are actually variants. The Deadpool core is just kind of a
collective.
They all look like him,
just different versions of
just different variants and different. They come from different universes, but they're just the Deadpool core. But obviously, they're all in the void, so they all.
Right, they're all just hanging out there. It's not like anything's different. But I know with Wolverine, on the other hand, because I know you and I talked about it a little bit, but yeah, I didn't realize the names of certain fuckers.
I you know what? When you actually go and you look a lot of these up, especially the comic book versions, I really dig these. Maybe the exception of the skeleton version of Logan, because that one's obviously probably not a comic book version,
no,
but
probably not.
And outside of Henry Cavill, that's obviously different. But I do like how they threw in the Cavalrine, because I do think that was kind of a cool. And they did the typical Henry Cavill fighting move that he always does in almost every movie, where he just drops the fist down. He does that almost in every movie.
Honestly, I've never seen that. To be honest,
it's the Henry Cavill move.
Well, and I also know that we're talking about this real quick, but with Henry Cavill, it was funny that they apparently, and I know you had to look this up, but the fact that they had actual more scenes with him.
They did. They had a whole fighting scene with him and Deadpool that they cut out, probably just because of length, and it didn't make sense.
Oh no, but I know there's going to be an extended version, which you damn well is going to be.
And that's what they're fighting for now, which Disney is still not wanting to put it in, and Ryan is still wanting to. So, who knows if we'll see it? Maybe we will, maybe we won't. But
I'm praying to God they did an extended version, because that's some bullshit.
I do. So Old Man Logan, which has the Western look, it's not the Logan that we saw in the movie Logan, but it's the actual Old Man Logan with the cowboy hat.
Yeah, he was sitting out. It looked like he had a shotgun, right? He shot him with a shotgun? Yeah.
He was sitting on the porch. So the classic brown suit Wolverine, which is the McFarlane cover, that's the one, you kind of have him with the open mouth, screaming, and his claws are out, and you see the face of the Hulk in the claws, which you actually see that cover in the live action in the movie.
So that's real quick though. It's interesting that what Matt's also talking about with a lot of these so far is that these are actually the images that you see really quick is that actually the covers from the actual comic books, and it's interesting.
So Old Man Logan sitting on a porch, that was the cover.
Right. So the fact that Ryan Reynolds did his research and was like, "Hey, let's get as close as we can to this shit," and then do it on a live action.
So the brown suit, like him. I mean, he wasn't like doing the full Wolverine like yell when he had the claws open, but like it was it was pretty damn close to comic book accurate, having the Hulk's face in the claws, which caused Ryan Reynolds to turn around and like, he pulled a Loki in that scene and was like, "I'm Marvel Jesus, you insufferable creature,"
And then all of a sudden you just see him fucking
punches him into a tree, The funniest one was, I think, the very first one, which was Short King. That was a really, really tiny.
That's comic book accurate, though. That's actually what he's supposed to look like when it comes to size.
Well, Short King was a variant of Wolverine. He was an actual comic book version of.
No, I understand, but technically Wolverine is supposed to be 5'4", not fucking 6 foot in this.
Well, I think Short King was shorter than 5'4".
Okay, well, yes, okay, he would be more of a midget. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Let me rephrase that. A short little person. Is that better?
He was a short Wolverine. I don't know.
I don't know.
Patch, which is the one he was wearing the white suit playing cards. I don't know if so much that was, from a cover. I think the cover wasn't him playing cards necessarily, but the actual version of him was pretty accurate. The crucified Wolverine, which is the one of him hanging on the X.
Yeah, there was a bunch of fucking skulls around him, basically. Yeah,
that one was from Uncanny X-Men number 251. That one is an actual, like, you can actually see it on the cover of the X-Men, comics. And then the one that's not really explained. This is the one where he goes and he's kind of standing in the back of a nightclub. This is the Age of Apocalypse Wolverine. He's on Earth 295. So this is like the one where he's behind, and he kind of fights him in between the other variants.
Oh, yeah, it's kind of a quick one.
It's broken up, but like, you kind of see him and he walks up and says something, and then he kind of goes after him, and then he goes into another.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's really fucking quick.
And then the scene goes into him, but it's just kind of like Wolverine just kind of like pouncing on him, and he does the thing and he sinks into the car into another, So, yeah.
I understand.
So those are like the Wolverine variants, but they're very, very comic book accurate. Like even the Deadpool variants, like Headpool and Kidpool, Babypool, like all of those are very much comic book accurate, which is when you get to the, nitty gritty of the movie, like it's very comic book accurate.
Oh yeah. No, that's what I love about it, is that they actually took the time to make it as realistic as you can from the comics to then showing it on the live action screen, because Marvel, yes, in some ways has been doing good jobs with that, but it's like, it's just hard to try to incorporate that into the the big screen here, because like Ryan Reynolds, I give him props, man. Like he did his time, he's done his research, he's done all this shit, and then the fact that he brought in all these characters and showing the different variants and showing all this shit and like saying, hey, if you actually take the fucking time to do something, you can actually make a good movie out of it, and you can actually make it believable.
So I think the only character that might have been a little bit different was Cassandra Nova, because she was actually in the comics, at least, even though like I think in the movie she was, Xavier's twin,
unborn twin, but yeah.
In the comics, she is a species of a kind of a bodiless parasite known as a Mamundrai, which is composed of living emotional energy, and they appear in every being in utero shortly before birth as like an ultimate opposite. So in terms of like Cassandra Nova, she appeared to the unborn Charles Xavier, copying his DNA, kind of to create the same body, being the complete opposite. And then Charles, obviously having abilities, sensed the monstrous thoughts, attempted to kill, Charles attempted to kill the creature, resulting in the physical body of Cassandra Nova being stillborn.
Right.
And what happened in the comics was the Mamundrai survived being stillborn by clinging to a sewer wall for decades.
Which, that's just fucking gross on so many levels.
It's really, really gross. But it rebuilt its physical form. It perfected its effort to mimic human traits. Perceiving the womb, it became aware of the entirety of the universe. And she believed that only she and Charles were real, and that killing him meant mastery of the universe as she saw it.
I mean, that's a very...
So I think that's where, that's where I think from the comics to Deadpool Wolverine, there's a little bit of a difference in how the character was
right. I mean,
portrayed.
For her being in the void, she being like the leader of the void in a sense, and then her trying to take over basically time and space, or really all the timelines in a sense, and basically creating nothing, because that's what she was ultimately doing. She was trying to basically destroy.
I mean, ultimately, she did kill a version of Charles Xavier in the void.
Oh, no, right. She did.
So, I mean, she ultimately did, but she was allowed to rule by the TVA in the void. So she was allowed to rule the TVA. I mean, allowed to rule the void by the TVA.
Because of, that fuckface that,
But she was also sent because she was obviously, I mean, she's in the comics. She's also, a creature that is way beyond powerful.
Oh, yeah. She clearly, if she was in the MCU now, good luck trying to stop her.
But like her putting like the fingers through the heads,
that was fucking weird.
That's in the comics. Like she can actually do that.
No, I understand, but you can't tell me that was some weird shit. Like that.
But she also can mimic other people, so she can also not just be who she is. She can mimic other people. So she has like certain abilities that weren't shown in the movie, which is I think a slight deviation. Obviously, Marvel does this all the time with villains, but a slight deviation from how she was in the comics. So,
the other thing too, because it's a little quick thing here, I didn't realize she was sitting in like Professor X's chair. I didn't realize that. When was that?
Well, that's why they, when she first rules out, they say Chuck.
Oh,
they're thinking like it's Charles because of the bald head and
right.
And then when she stands up and starts coming down, then he's like, "Oh, the critics aren't going to really like this,
This isn't right." No, I didn't realize that. I honestly didn't. Maybe I didn't put two and two together in that moment, but I didn't realize that that's what she was doing. She was literally riding in to do that.
Yeah, I mean, she was sitting in his chair, riding forward. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, guys, I'll tell you this. This movie. I mean, there's a lot. There's just a lot.
There's a lot going on. I mean, it's a good story. Could they've developed
it a little bit better,
a deeper story, and had less cameos and stuff?
They could have.
Sure, they could have. But I think like when you look at the movie at the end of the day, it's not so much like, you can give your arguments like, oh yeah, there's not really a plot and there's not really this or there's not really that. What this movie did was it was fan service.
Absolutely.
What this movie did was it catered to fans of Marvel. It catered to fans of Deadpool, fans of Wolverine. Like if you like anything about Marvel or Deadpool or Wolverine, this is what it catered to. It was just purely about the entertainment value of the movie, and it wasn't about anything else. The movie has a story.
Oh, no, it does.
It might not be the best one. It may not be the one that you wanted to tell, but then when you have, maybe $200 million, you can tell a story too.
I mean, I think with Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman and just kind of telling their story, I think it was also one of the things that people don't understand either is that, we've always wanted to see how these two were going to interact as a whole. And so they really did a good job on how they would probably interact with each other on a big screen like this.
And we're going to see them again.
That's my point. It's like, This isn't the end of them. This is just kind of more the beginning of how they were trying to become, in a sense. And so it's kind of that story where it's like, you may think it's like a bunch of chaos and all this bullshit. Listen, I'm not talking about Eternals because that's just a pile of bullshit, and there was a bunch of chaos and bullshit in between all that. What I am saying is a movie like this where you get to have all these different people come into play, and especially people you never thought were going to be on the big screen on top of that. And then on top of that, you're having all these little, like, these cool little different cameos of, like, different versions of themselves or all this other shit. Like, he could have never done any of this shit. Like, we could have had a very basic, generic movie, but you're right. I mean, he basically tailored this to any Marvel nerd, I'm going to say nerd, but, like, anyone that can relate to, both Deadpool and Wolverine, anybody who's watched all the fucking X-Men movies in general and any of the Deadpools going forward and everything else. Like, there was so much shit going on. There was honestly probably the best thing probably since I'd either say No Way Home or even fucking, Multiverse of Madness, depending on which one you look at. In the sense of, like, cameos wise and different things like that.
Yeah, I mean, movie wise, I would say this is probably right up there with Endgame.
Oh no, I agree with you.
Yeah,
I do. I was just talking about, like, if I was basing it off of cameos, I'd say those two. I'd say between those two recently. I'm saying more recently. I'm not talking about in the past, because Endgame, yes, that was the ultimate testament to Marvel, and that's what they did, and that's why it did so well. But you look at how moving forward, yes, right now this is their saving grace. Like, this movie right now is what Blade did back in the day, because this is how they're going to move forward.
Unfortunately, though, I feel like with Marvel, it's like, you get the turds, and I'll put it that way. You
shit stains, but yeah, that's fine.
You get the turds, and then occasionally, like, you get the diamonds, and this is a diamond.
This is a diamond certified platinum all the way to fucking the goddamn moon.
And I mean, we have to see and wait until what comes out, but I think we're kind of due for turds.
Oh yeah, no. This is the diamond,
and we're about diamond, and then we're going to get a bunch of turds.
Oh no,
so I think we're going to be getting a whole lot of that. But I will say this: now that this movie has come out, because we've had this thing with the other Deadpool movies, right?
Yeah.
And we've had this one scene in this movie that nobody really likes. Well, maybe the chicks like it because it's their movie. Right at the end of that movie, she ends up with Beast.
Oh,
Rambo, right? Whatever her.
You're talking about. Oh, wait, you went from the Marvels all of a sudden. I didn't realize that's what we're going with. But okay, yes.
So she ends up with Beast, and not like the young Beast that we were seeing in the newer.
We're talking about the Fox version of
the
Beast.
Fox version, because I'm saying in the other Deadpool movies, we also saw the Xavier School.
Correct.
Where Colossus was and all the other,
Well, Colossus was the only technically other X-Men that you saw, though.
Right, but we also know that the Logan that was that Logan was the Logan from his Earth, which is not the 616 Earth. Right? So it's the 10005 Earth.
Yeah.
So we're saying right now that Vox universe X-Men is in that Deadpool universe.
Yes, technically.
So that's the only kind of connection that I'm making right now.
Oh no, right now, because you're right, because that version of Beast was that was honestly the weirdest fucking Easter egg you could ever throw at us.
It was the weirdest one, but I think, like, when you make that connection, so if they they showed Beast, and now there's a Wolverine. And
right.
Now potentially there could be a Gambit.
I mean, yes, you could start to see some of the X-Men coming about, and that's depending on what they're going to do, right? Because, and the reason why I'm saying this is because if, let's say, and I'm going to say it, if they're going off of, let's say, the animated show and those characters, that's where you could start to see, to see Jubilee and a few other people like Rogue and so forth. But
I still go to our original conversation when we were watching that movie, though. They do have an X-Men problem.
Yes, they do.
Because Magneto, if you don't know Magneto, go look him up, because he has a Holocaust story.
Oh no, you're right. The problem is both Xavier and him. They're both in that same time frame. So the problem is you're going to have to find either a younger version of themselves.
Well, you're going to have to find a new
or like timeline,
a new backstory that is equally tragic as the Holocaust, which I don't know what there is. That's equally tragic, but you're going to have to make shit up that's equally as bad as the Holocaust, unless you have a character as Magneto who either comes from a different multiverse or has been locked up in ice for 70 years. Because this guy is going to be like fucking 80 years old.
No, I was going to say he'll be a hell of a lot older than that.
Well, I mean, he'll be pretty damn old. And he's not going to be Magneto. He'll probably need a pill for that.
He'll need a lot of stuff for that because there ain't going to be a lot of going off of that. No.
His magnet ain't going to be working.
It looks like Viagra going to be helpful. No. No, guys, but like for real, like, you know, when you look at this movie and you start to look at how, you know, like what we're talking about now, like some of the characters and how we're going to base it off of like, you know, future stuff. X-Men as a whole, you know, again, it is apparent that yes, their next phase, besides like the whole like Doomsday shit and, you know, Secret Wars and whatnot. Yes, their whole new thing is going to potentially go down to the road of mutants and shit. But the issue is, he's right. At the end of the day, yes, we can make these connections. We can start to do all this shit. But yeah, Marvel's going to have to really start thinking about how they're going to connect all this shit and how is it going to make sense moving forward. Because if
it made sense then, because the Holocaust was happening then.
Well,
but now
it wasn't so many
years. It's been so many years since then.
Well, that's what I mean. If we're talking about now, right now, in the current day, you know, we're talking about the Holocaust being in what 39. So we're talking in the late 30s, early 40s in that time frame. We're almost talking because we're further away from that now because we're talking almost 70 plus years now. So my point is it's so long, and like what Matt's saying, whether he's 80, 90 years old.
You have to come up with a whole backstory of either where he's coming from, which is different, and you got to use the multiverse as a crutch to explain it.
Yep.
Or you have to come up with a whole new backstory, like he was a prisoner of war or something that explains how he has the mentality and the personality that he has if he wasn't from the, you know, if he wasn't a little kid at the Holocaust.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, guys, who knows? Marvel is just the way they're going to be. You know what? Guess what? Maybe Deadpool will be the Marvel Jesus, and maybe he'll figure this shit out. Maybe he'll start creating the goddamn world, and maybe Loki. Maybe he'll get help from Loki. Who knows?
Maybe. Who knows?
But anyways, guys, we appreciate you. We love what you guys are doing. Hopefully, you guys can let us know who won the super fight, as well as all this other bullshit that we've been talking about. Maybe you can give us some answers on maybe what Marvel should be doing next. But anyways, guys, until next time,
stay geeky.